Discipline isn't about control, it's about freedom. Now let that sink in for a moment. Really take it in. You've been told that discipline means saying no, holding back, restraining yourself, staying in a box someone else defined for you. But what if I told you that true discipline, real willpower, isn't about what you can't do? It's about what you can do. It's not about shackles, it's about wings. Think about it. Every time you make a choice that aligns with your highest self, you're not giving something up, you're gaining something greater. You're unlocking a life where you don't just survive, you thrive. Discipline isn't the heavy chain people think it is. It's the key to a door that opens into your best, most fulfilling life. Let's get real for a second. How many of us wake up feeling stuck? Stuck in habits, stuck in patterns, stuck in lives that feel smaller than the dreams we once had. And why? Because we've been sold this lie that freedom means doing whatever we want, whenever we want. But here's the twist: freedom isn't the absence of discipline, it's the product of it. Let me tell you a story. Picture a young artist with incredible talent. She paints with wild, passionate strokes and her work has potential, but she never sets a schedule to refine her skills. She never commits to studying the greats or to working consistently. What if discipline isn't about saying no to yourself, but saying yes to your dreams? So many people think willpower is a battle between what you want and what you should do. But real willpower, it's not a fight. It's a dance. A harmony between where you are and where you want to be. It's the bridge that takes you from the person you are today to the person you know deep down you're meant to become. Now let me ask you this, when was the last time you thought about what you truly want? Not the fleeting ones, the temporary highs, but the deep soul-stirring desires. Do you want health? Love? Success? Peace. Those things don't come from living reactively, they come from living intentionally. And intentional living, that's discipline. Here's another way to look at it. Imagine you're driving a car. Without discipline, you're swerving all over the road, chasing every distraction, every impulse. But with discipline, you're in control of the wheel. You're navigating toward your destination, steering with purpose. The car becomes an extension of your will, not a runaway force. And here's a twist that might surprise you. Discipline doesn't have to feel hard. It can feel like love. In fact, it should feel like love. Every disciplined choice you make is an act of self-love. When you choose to get up early, to move your body, to say no to what doesn't serve you, it's not about denying yourself pleasure, it's about honoring your potential. Here's the secret, no one tells you discipline isn't about the momentary no, it's about the eternal yes, the yes to health, to abundance, to clarity, to a life you're proud to call your own. Think of the greats, anyone you admire, anyone who's achieved something extraordinary. Do you think they got there by luck? No. They got there by choosing freedom over comfort. They got there by understanding that discipline is the foundation of every great life. Now, here's a practice for you. Think of one area of your life where you feel stuck. Maybe it's your health, maybe it's your finances, maybe it's your relationships. Whatever it is, ask yourself, what's one small disciplined action I can take today to move the needle? Not tomorrow, not next week, today. You see, discipline doesn't demand perfection. It asks for consistency. It's not about massive, overwhelming changes. It's about small, steady steps, one choice at a time. And with each choice, you're telling the universe, I'm ready. I'm ready to show up for the life I want. But let's get practical for a second. You might be thinking, that sounds great, but how do I actually stay disciplined? The answer: clarity. You have to know your why. If your why is strong enough, the how becomes inevitable. Let's try this. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your future self, the one who has everything you dream of. What do they look like? How do they feel? What choices did they make to get there? Hold that image in your mind and let it guide you. Because every time you choose discipline, you're saying yes to that version of you. Here's another little truth to carry with you. Discipline isn't about sacrifice, it's about alignment. When you're aligned with your highest self, discipline doesn't feel like work, it feels like joy. Let's go even deeper. Have you ever noticed that the moments you're most proud of are the ones where you push through resistance? Maybe it was finishing a project when you wanted to quit. Maybe it was sticking to a goal when it felt impossible. Those moments, they're proof of what you're capable of when you embrace discipline. And here's the kicker: the more disciplined you are, the freer you become. Free from regret, free from guilt, free from the endless cycle of starting over. Because discipline creates momentum, and momentum creates transformation. So the next time you think about willpower, don't see it as a burden, see it as a gift. A gift you give to yourself every time you choose to live with intention. Now let me leave you with this thought: discipline isn't a destination, it's a journey of becoming, a journey of stepping into the fullness of who you are. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a step toward freedom. And that freedom, it's not just for you, it's for the world. Because when you live as your highest self, you inspire others to do the same. So go ahead, embrace the discipline, unlock the freedom, and watch how your life transforms. Every no to distraction is a yes to your dreams. Let that resonate within you for a moment. How often have you said yes to something trivial, scrolling mindlessly through your phone, diving into another episode of a show you didn't even care about, and in doing so quietly whispered no to your deepest aspirations? Now imagine this: every single day you are casting votes for the person you are becoming. Every choice, no matter how small, is a step toward your future. The secret is in those everyday moments, those seemingly insignificant decisions where you say, no, I'm not going to let this distraction pull me off course, and instead you whisper a quiet but powerful yes to your purpose. See, distractions aren't just harmless little detours, they are thieves. They sneak in, steal your time, your energy, and most importantly, your focus. And what is focus? Focus is your superpower. Focus is the lens through which you manifest the life you want. When your focus is sharp, your actions align with your dreams, and suddenly life feels purposeful, intentional, alive. But here's the catch: distractions are everywhere. They are clever, seductive, and oh so convenient. They disguise themselves as rest, as entertainment, as connection. But let's get real for a second. Are they truly nourishing you, or are they just numbing you? Here's a truth I want you to carry with you: your energy flows where your attention goes. So the question becomes, where is your attention going? Is it scattered across a million little diversions, or is it honed in on the life you dream of building? Let's paint a picture. Imagine you're climbing a mountain. At the top lies everything you've ever wanted: your goals, your peace, your fulfillment. Every step matters. But every time you stop to pick up a shiny distraction along the trail, you lose momentum. You lose time. You lose sight of the summit. Now think about this: what if instead of stopping you chose to keep walking? What if with every shiny thing calling your name you said, not today? My focus is my power, and my dreams are worth more than this momentary pull. And let me tell you, those choices add up. The small no's to distraction become monumental yeses to your future. Here's where it gets interesting. Saying no to distractions isn't about deprivation, it's about liberation. It's about freeing yourself from the noise that pulls you away from your highest self. Let me share a story with you. There was a man who wanted to write a book. For years he dreamed about it, talked about it, told himself he'd start tomorrow. But every tomorrow came with another excuse: a TV show to watch, emails to check, errands to run. Until one day he made a decision. He decided to write just 1 page a day, just one. But here's the twist: to make space for that 1 page, he had to say no to his evening distractions. Do you know what happened? Within a year, he had a book. 1 year of small, consistent no's to distractions, and he had said yes to a lifelong dream. Now, ask yourself, what's the book you're meant to write? It might not be a literal book. It could be a business, a relationship, a health transformation, a creative project. Whatever it is, the principle is the same. Every small decision matters. And let's talk about the biggest distraction of all, the myth of multitasking. You've been told you can do it all, juggle your phone, your to-do list, your goals, your entertainment, and still stay focused. But let's be honest, multitasking isn't efficiency, it's distraction in disguise. Think about a magnifying glass. When its focus is scattered, nothing happens. But when you hold it steady, when you direct all its energy toward one point, it creates fire. That's the power of focus. That's what happens when you say no to the noise and yes to the task at hand. Here's a little exercise for you. Tomorrow morning, before you start your day, write down one thing, just one, that you're going to say yes to. It could be as simple as reading for 15 minutes, going for a walk, or working on that project you've been putting off. Then, identify the distractions that usually derail you. Write them down, name them. And when they show up, and they will practice saying no. But here's the key, don't just say no out of frustration. Say it with love. Say it with gratitude for the dream you're protecting. Say it because every no to distraction is an act of self-respect. Let me ask you this, how would your life look a year from now if you said yes to your dreams every day? Not in some grand, dramatic way, but in those small, consistent choices. What could you build? Who could you become? The truth is, you don't need more hours in the day. You need fewer distractions in the hours you already have. And here's the beautiful part, as you start saying no to distractions, something magical happens. You begin to build trust with yourself. You start to believe in your ability to follow through, to stay focused, to prioritize what truly matters. That trust. It's the foundation of self-discipline. Let me leave you with one final thought. Your dreams are calling, but they require your attention. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you answer that call. Every time you protect your energy, you honor your potential. So the next time you're tempted to veer off course, remember this: every no to distraction is a yes to your dreams. And those dreams, they're worth every single yes. Willpower is a muscle. Think about that for a moment. Really let it land. Just like the muscles in your body, your willpower grows stronger the more you use it. But here's the secret: it doesn't grow through grand, dramatic acts of strength. It grows through simple, daily effort. Little by little, choice by choice. The beauty of discipline lies in its simplicity. Small, consistent actions repeated over time lead to profound transformation. Not overnight, not in some burst of superhuman effort, but steadily, quietly, almost imperceptibly, until one day you look back and realize you've become someone entirely new. Now, let me ask you this: what if every small decision you make is like a single rep in the gym of life? Every time you choose to act with intention, you're flexing that willpower muscle. Every time you resist the urge to give up, you're strengthening it. And just like any muscle, the more you use it, the easier it becomes. Let's get practical for a moment. Imagine you're holding a 5-pound weight. The first time you pick it up, it feels heavy, awkward, maybe even a little overwhelming. But you keep at it day after day. And before you know it, that same weight feels light, effortless. So you pick up a 10-pound weight, then 20, 30. And what was once impossible becomes second nature. That's how willpower works. Now, here's a question for you. What's your 5-pound weight? What's the one small, manageable step you can take today to start building your willpower? Maybe it's getting up 10 minutes earlier. Maybe it's saying no to that extra scroll through your phone. Maybe it's simply taking a deep breath when you feel overwhelmed. Whatever it is, start there. Start small. Because the size of the action doesn't matter, it's the consistency that counts. And here's the thing, consistency isn't glamorous, it's not flashy. No one's going to throw you a parade for getting up early or sticking to your goals, but make no mistake, it's powerful. Consistency is the foundation of every great achievement. Here's a little hook for you: the strongest muscle isn't the one people see, it's the one you build in silence. Think about the greats, the athletes, the artists, the visionaries. They didn't wake up one day with extraordinary discipline. They built it day by day, rep by rep. They made thousands of small choices that no one saw, no one celebrated, but those choices added up to something extraordinary. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who decided he wanted to run a marathon. But here's the catch: he'd never run a mile in his life. Not one. The thought of running 26.2 miles felt impossible. So he started small. The first day he ran for 1 minute, just one. The next day, 2 minutes, then 3. Slowly, over weeks and months, he built up his endurance. And a year later, he crossed that finish line. Now, what if he had waited until he felt ready? What if he had told himself he'd start running when it felt easier, when the timing was perfect, when he had more motivation? He never would have started. And that's the trap so many of us fall into. We wait for the perfect moment. But the truth is, the perfect moment doesn't exist. The only moment you have is right now. Here's a powerful truth: willpower isn't about waiting for the right conditions, it's about creating them. So often we think we need motivation to act, but here's the twist: action creates motivation, not the other way around. The simple act of showing up, even when you don't feel like it, sparks a momentum that fuels your willpower. And let's be honest, there will be days when it feels hard, days when you don't want to show up, days when the weight feels too heavy. But here's what I want you to remember: every time you push through, every time you show up despite the resistance, you're not just building willpower, you're building character. Let's do a little exercise together. Close your eyes and imagine your willpower as a tiny flame. It flickers, small and delicate. But every time you make a disciplined choice, you add fuel to that flame. Every time you say yes to your goals and no to distractions, the flame grows stronger, brighter, until it becomes a roaring fire that nothing can extinguish. Here's another hook for you: discipline is the spark, and willpower is the fire it ignites. Now, let's get personal. Think about the areas of your life where you feel stuck. Maybe it's your health, your career, your relationships. Wherever it is, ask yourself, what small daily action can I take to start building momentum? Not something big or overwhelming, something so simple it feels almost too easy. Because here's the truth: the secret to success isn't doing extraordinary things, it's doing ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. And don't get caught up in perfection. Perfection is a trap. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be persistent. Miss a day, start again, fall off track, get back up. Because every effort, no matter how small, moves you closer to your goal. Let me leave you with this thought: willpower is the foundation of every great life. And like any foundation, it's built brick by brick. Each small act of discipline is a brick you lay. Each choice to stay the course is another. And over time, those bricks add up to something unshakable. So start today, flex that willpower muscle, and watch as it grows stronger day by day. Your mind is a garden. What are you planting today? Think about that for a moment. Picture it vividly: the soil of your mind, fertile and ready, waiting for whatever seeds you choose to sow. Each thought you hold, each intention you set is a seed. And here's the powerful part: those seeds will grow. They will sprout, flourish, and eventually bear fruit. The question is, what kind of fruit are you cultivating? Are you planting seeds of hope, abundance, growth, and love? Or are you perhaps unknowingly planting seeds of doubt, fear, and limitation? Because here's the truth: the garden of your mind doesn't discriminate. It grows whatever you feed it. Now, Let me ask you this, if you were walking through a real garden, a place filled with flowers, trees, fruits, would you leave it untended? Would you let weeds overrun the beauty? Of course not. So why do we allow weeds in the most sacred garden of all our thoughts? Pause for a moment and take this in discipline begins with the thoughts you water. It's not just about what you do, it's about what you think. And what you think, my friend, shapes the reality you live in. Let me share something that might shift your perspective. Have you ever noticed how the smallest thought can grow into something huge? A fleeting worry can spiral into full-blown anxiety. A tiny spark of gratitude can ignite a fire of joy. That's the nature of thoughts. They multiply, they expand. So the secret is to choose your seeds wisely. Now here's a hook for you. What if I told you that every single thought is an act of creation? That's right. Each time you think, you're creating a future reality. You're shaping your world with every seed you plant in your mind. Let's dive deeper. Imagine waking up in the morning and instead of immediately grabbing your phone or running through a mental checklist of worries, you pause. You ask yourself, what do I want to plant today? Maybe it's patience. Maybe it's confidence. Maybe it's gratitude. Whatever it is, you consciously choose to water that thought throughout your day. And as you nurture it, you begin to see it grow, not just in your mind, but in your actions, your words, and your experiences. Here's a little story for you. There was once a farmer who had 2 fields. One field was meticulously cared for. He planted strong, vibrant seeds, pulled weeds regularly, and ensured it had enough sunlight and water. The other field, he left it to chance. He allowed weeds to take over, rarely tended to it, and hoped for the best. At harvest time, which field do you think bore fruit? Your mind works the same way. It will reflect the care or neglect you give it. Now let me challenge you. Think about your daily mental habits. What are you watering without even realizing it? Are you feeding thoughts of, I'm not enough, I can't do this, it's too late for me? Or are you feeding thoughts like I am capable, I am deserving, I am growing every day? Because here's a powerful truth, what you focus on expands. Let me put it another way. Imagine you're holding a magnifying glass. If you focus it on a single point long enough, it can set fire to what's beneath it. That's the power of focus. The thoughts you dwell on, whether empowering or destructive, have the potential to catch fire and consume your reality. And here's where discipline comes in. It's not enough to hope for better thoughts. You have to actively cultivate them. You have to become the gardener of your mind. Here's how you do it. First, become aware. Take stock of what's already growing in your garden, what's flourishing, what's withering, what needs to be uprooted. Let me give you a practical exercise. Close your eyes for a moment and visualize your mind as a garden. Look around. What do you see? Are there vibrant flowers of gratitude? Strong trees of confidence? Or are there weeds of doubt and fear? Now imagine pulling out those weeds. Feel the release as you let them go. And in their place, plant new seeds, seeds of love, seeds of purpose, seeds of joy. But here's the catch, you can't just plant them and walk away. You have to water them. Every day, you water them with affirmations, with gratitude, with conscious choices. Let me ask you this, if you spend even 5 minutes a day nurturing, empowering thoughts, how different would your life look in a month? In a year? Here's a small, surprising truth. You are always planting something, whether you realize it or not. Even in moments of stillness, your mind is working. So why not make it work in your favor? Think about the times in your life when you felt truly alive, truly aligned. I guarantee you weren't feeding your mind with self-doubt or fear in those moments. You were watering thoughts of possibility, of courage, of faith. Now, let's talk about what happens when you plant the wrong seeds. We've all done it a lot, a passing thought of insecurity to take root, and before we know it, it's grown into a belief. But here's the good news, you can always start over. You can always replant. It's never too late to cultivate a garden that reflects the life you want. And this is key, you have to protect your garden. You wouldn't let just anyone walk through your backyard, trampling the flowers and scattering weeds. So why let negative influences invade your mind? Be mindful of the media you consume, the people you surround yourself with, the words you speak. Everything you allow into your space is either helping your garden grow or letting it wither. Here's a practical tip each morning. Before you do anything else, set an intention for the day. Say it out loud today. I choose to plant thoughts of peace. Today, I choose to water seeds of abundance. Today, I choose to nurture my highest self, and then follow through. Because here's the ultimate truth, your garden is your responsibility. No one else can tend to it for you. And the life you want to live, it starts here, in the soil of your thoughts. So I'll ask you again, what are you planting today? Willpower isn't something you find like a lost set of keys or a lucky coin. It's something you generate. Let's get real about this for a moment. Every single one of us has moments where we feel like we're lacking willpower. You know that feeling, don't you? The one where you say, I just don't have it in me today, or why can't I stick with this? But here's the truth, the secret that changes everything. Willpower doesn't come from somewhere outside of you. It's created inside you. And every single moment is an opportunity to create it. Now, take a moment to let that sink in. Imagine this, you're standing in front of a fire pit. The wood is there, the kindling is ready, but there's no flame. Do you sit back and wait for a spark to magically appear? Of course not. You strike a match, you create the spark. And in life, each choice you make is that spark. Each decision to act, no matter how small, is the beginning of the fire that fuels your self-discipline. Here's a powerful question for you. What if your willpower isn't missing but simply waiting? Waiting for you to ignite it? Think about the choices you've made today, even the tiny ones. Did you get out of bed when your alarm went off, or did you hit snooze? Did you choose water over soda? Did you say yes to something that scared you, or did you step back into comfort? Every one of those choices is a spark. And the beauty of this truth is that it gives you back your power. You're no longer at the mercy of some elusive thing called willpower. You're the one holding the match. Let me tell you a story. There was a man I once knew who wanted to run a marathon. He wasn't a runner, had never run more than a mile in his life, but he was inspired by the idea. Now, he could have sat around waiting for the motivation to strike, waiting to wake up one day and feel like a runner. But instead, he made a choice. The next morning, he laced up his old sneakers and ran to the end of his block. That was at just one block. The next day, he ran 2. And day after day, choice after choice, he generated the willpower to keep going. Months later, he crossed the finish line of his first marathon. Here's the hook. It wasn't his willpower that got him out the door. It was his choice, his commitment to take one step and then another and another. The willpower came from the momentum he built along the way. And that's the thing, willpower isn't a finite resource. It's not a gas tank that runs empty. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But here's the catch, you have to start small. You don't walk into a gym for the first time and try to lift 200 pounds, right? You start with what you can handle. It's the same with willpower. Every small, disciplined choice strengthens your ability to make the next one. Now, let's talk about momentum. Have you ever noticed how one good choice leads to another? You drink a glass of water instead of reaching for soda, and suddenly you feel inspired to take a walk. You clear one item off your to-do list, and before you know it, you're tackling the next one. That's momentum. And it's one of the most powerful forces you can harness. Here's a practice you can try today. Pick one small thing, a single spark, and commit to it. Maybe it's making your bed in the morning. Maybe it's spending 5 minutes meditating. Maybe it's putting on your shoes and going for a short walk. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's something you can do right now. Because once you've started, you've already generated the willpower to keep going. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Let's flip the script for a moment. So many of us wait for the right time to act. We think I'll start when I feel ready, when I have more energy, more clarity, more motivation. But waiting for the perfect moment is like waiting for the wind to blow in just the right direction before you set sail. The truth, there is no perfect moment, there's only now dot. And the beauty of now is that it's always within your control. In this moment, you have a choice. You can choose to stay where you are, or you can take one step forward. And here's the secret: you don't need to see the entire staircase. You just need to take the next step dot. That step generates the spark, and that spark creates the momentum. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly proud of yourself? Think back to a moment where you overcame resistance, where you pushed through doubt, where you did something you didn't think you could do. Wasn't that moment worth it? Didn't it remind you of how capable you are? That pride you felt, that's what willpower feels like in action. And here's another twist: willpower isn't about being perfect, dot. It's not about never making a mistake or never giving in to temptation. It's about showing up for yourself again and again, no matter how many times you fall. Each time you choose to rise, you're generating the strength to keep going. Think of a candle. The flame doesn't burn out the moment the wind blows, it flickers, it wavers, but it doesn't go out. That's your willpower. It may waver in the face of challenges, but as long as you keep feeding it choice by choice, it will keep burning. Now let's circle back to you. What's the fire you're trying to ignite? Is it a healthier body? A more fulfilling career? A deeper sense of peace? Whatever it is, remember this: the power to create it is already within you. You don't need to wait for the stars to align or for some magical burst of energy. All you need is this moment, right here, right now. Let's make it practical. Think about your day tomorrow. What's one decision you can commit to that aligns with the life you want to create? Write it down, make it real. And when the time comes, act on it. Because every time you follow through on a choice, you're telling yourself, I can do this. I am capable. I am powerful. Here's the final hook I want you to carry with you. You are the spark. You are the fire. You are the one who creates the willpower you seek, dot. And the more you trust in your ability to choose, the more unstoppable you become. Imagine living every day as the person you've always wanted to be. Not just in fleeting moments, not just in your dreams, but in every breath, every choice, every interaction. Think about that for a second. What does that version of you look like? How do they feel when they wake up in the morning? How do they move through the world? Hold on to that image, because that's where we're going tonight. You see, there's a secret to becoming that person, and it's not what most people think. It's not about waiting for the right circumstances or hoping for some magical motivation to appear. No, it's about willpower. But not the kind of willpower that feels heavy, like a burden. It's not about gritting your teeth and trudging through life. True willpower is something different entirely. It's the bridge between where you are right now and the extraordinary life, deep in your soul that you deserve. And let me tell you, that bridge isn't built with struggle. It's built with intention and with clarity, with a deep, unwavering commitment to your highest self. Now, here's a hook for you. What if the life you want isn't as far away as you think? What if it's just one choice away? I want you to imagine something with me. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a canyon. On one side, there's the you of today, complete with all your doubts, your fears, your habits, and the stories you've been carrying about who you are. On the other side, across the canyon, is the person you've always wanted to be. They're standing tall, glowing with confidence, clarity, and joy. The question is, how do you get there? The answer? It's not a leap, it's a bridge. And every plank of that bridge is a moment of willpower. Every small choice you make to wake up a little earlier, to speak with kindness, to pursue your goals with focus is another step across. Here's the kicker though, most people never even take the first step. They stand on the edge, staring at the gap, convincing themselves it's too far, too hard, too impossible. But that's not you. That's not why you're here. You're here because you feel it. That pull. That knowing that you were meant for more. Now, let me share something personal. There was a time in my life when I felt like I was drifting. Every day felt the same, like I was living on autopilot. And then one day it hit me, I wasn't living as the person I wanted to be. I was waiting. Waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the perfect energy, waiting for someone else to come along and build that bridge for me. But here's the truth, no one's coming to save you. And that's the most liberating thing you'll ever realize, because once you know that, you understand that the power to change is already within you. It always has been. Let's talk about willpower for a moment. Most people think of willpower as a muscle, something you either have or you don't. But I want you to reframe it. Willpower isn't a chore, it's a gift. It's the divine force within you that whispers, yes, you can. It's the spark that says, one more step. Keep going. And here's the beautiful part, willpower grows the more you use it. Every time you make a choice that aligns with your highest self, you strengthen that bridge. You make it easier to cross the next time. Think about this. What if every moment of hesitation, every moment of doubt is actually an invitation? An invitation to step closer to the person you're becoming. Let's break it down practically. Say you have a habit you want to change. Maybe you want to exercise more, or spend less time on your phone, or start that project you've been dreaming about for years. The secret isn't to tackle it all at once. The secret is to start small. Take one action, just one that moves you closer to your vision. Here's a little exercise for you. Close your eyes and imagine your best self. Picture them in vivid detail. How do they carry themselves? What kind of energy do they exude? Now, ask yourself, what's one thing that version of you does every day? Is it meditating in the morning? Is it showing kindness to strangers? Is it staying focused on their goals? Whatever it is, start doing that one thing right now. You see, the extraordinary life you're dreaming of isn't built overnight. It's built in the small, seemingly insignificant moments. It's built every time you choose discipline over distraction, purpose over procrastination, growth over comfort. And let me tell you, there's power in momentum. The first step might feel hard. It might feel hard. It might feel like pushing a boulder uphill. But once you get moving, something incredible happens. That boulder, it starts to roll. It starts to pick up speed. And before you know it, you're unstoppable. Here's another hook for you. What if willpower isn't about saying no to temptation, but saying yes to your dreams? You see, the person you've always wanted to be isn't some distant ideal. They're already within you, waiting to be revealed. Willpower is simply the process of peeling back the layers, of removing the doubts, the excuses, the distractions, until what's left is your truest self. Let me give you an example. Think of an oak tree. Inside every acorn is the blueprint for that mighty tree. But that tree doesn't grow by force. It doesn't push or struggle. It grows by aligning with its environment, by soaking up sunlight, by reaching its roots deeper into the earth. That's what willpower does for you. It aligns you with your highest potential. So the next time you feel resistance, don't see it as a wall. See it as a signpost, a reminder that you're on the right path. Because here's the truth, the path to your extraordinary life will always challenge you. But that's how you grow. That's how you become Dot. And here's the best part. Every time you choose willpower, every time you take a step toward that bridge, you're not just transforming yourself, you're transforming the world around you. When you live as your highest self, you give others permission to do the same. You become a light in the darkness, a beacon of what's possible. So I'll ask you again, imagine living every day as the person you've always wanted to be. Not someday, not when the circumstances are right, but today, what would that look like? What would that feel like? Hold on to that vision. Let it guide you. And remember, you already have everything you need to build that bridge. The question is, are you ready to take the first step? Thanks for joining me today. If you found value in this discussion, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more motivational content. Share your thoughts in the comments below.